Yeah, namaste.
Namaste, Guruji.
Namaste.
Guruji, if you permit, I can record if nobody can record it. I need a permission.
Om Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krito Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavat Vyapta Dehaya Dakshina Murtaye Namaha Sada Shiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvi Navadhitamastu Ma Vidvishabhai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So Gita Dhyanam, first verse and the last verse. We'll chant together. Om Parthaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Gratitam Purana Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitamritavarshinim Bhagavatim Ashtadashaധ്യായിനീം Ambatvamanusandadhami Bhagavad-gite Bhavadveshini Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Marutaha Stunvanti Divyaistavaihi Vedais Sangapadakramopanisadaihi Gayanti Yam Samagaha Dhyanavasthita Tadgatena Manasa Pashyanti Yan Yoginaha Yasyantam na vidussura suraganaha Devaya tasmai namaha Devaya tasmai namaha. So we were talking about the need for a teacher. So the word guru now plays a bigger role in our life, and we saw among these four types of dialogues there is one called samvada. Samvada refers to a dialogue between a teacher and a student, where one is learning and the other has learned. And so then the attitude is different, and then just learning flowers and knowledge does take place. And we saw that the pramAnam, any pramAnam has to be operated in order for us to benefit from what that pramAnam has to offer. like the eyes, and unless we open our eyes, we cannot see. And likewise, unless we operate this Vedas, which we have learnt is a pramAnam, is a means of knowledge, we are not going to benefit from the Vedas. And so we allow that pramAnam to work. We let it work. And we saw Bhagavad Gita also is a pramAnam because it is very much based on what the Vedas says. And Krishna talks, Vedavyasa wrote the Bhagavad Gita and wrote the Mahabharata. So therefore, being Narayana, Vedavyasa, the words in the Bhagavad Gita cannot be spoken in vain. So that's why we have a lot of Shraddha in the Bhagavad Gita, and we begin to study the Bhagavad Gita. So talking about this need for a guru, and the benefit of doubt is given to a guru. And sometimes the Bhagavad Gita will appear to make contradictory statements. The Bhagavad Gita or the Upanishads, the Vedas, appears to make contradictory statements. So the Atma is there, and because the Atma is you, your mind cannot really objectify the Atma. The mind, so cannot, yan manasa na manute. That's what the Upanishad will say. Yan manasa na manute. So the mind, that which cannot be grasped by the mind, that which cannot be understood by the mind. Like that, a statement will come. Then suddenly later on, some other place you will find the mantra, manasa eva drashtavyam. Of course, you must see yourself through the mind. Like that statement will come. So contradictory statements. One is contradicts the other. Very obvious contradiction. So we have to, this is not uncommon in our Shastram because of the nature of the subject matter. On the one hand, I can't see myself because the seer is me. How can the seen also be me? Okay, that's a very sad scene, right? It looks like. But yet, without my mind, how am I going to understand this? And so therefore, manasa eva drashtavyam. By the mind alone, it has to be seen. So like this, apparent contradictions will be there, which will get resolved in time. So therefore, the teacher is typically given a benefit of doubt. Let me hang on to it until I gain better clarity, like that. So the process of teaching now, teaching in the strict sense cannot be exploratory. Cannot be exploratory. The teacher cannot say, I also am learning and you're also there to learn, and let's learn together. I like to tell the story. I had this experience in the US when I started studying, and I was very interested in learning Sanskritam. And so I was asking around who can teach, and somebody said that Acharyaji can teach. Acharyaji teaches Sanskritam. So which Acharyaji? Means this Arya Samaj. There was in Houston, there was one of the lead Acharya was there. So I was so happy. So I went there. And Aye and all, he welcomed me. I said, you don't have to give me so much respect. I will give you respect. I will do namaste to you, pranams to you. And we sat down, and I had told him I was coming at so time, 4 o'clock, whatever, in the afternoon. And then he went on lecturing And he started saying how it's been so long since I studied Sanskrit, and it's a nice opportunity, and we can all learn together. Like that, he started saying. And I was beginning to wonder, who is the student here? Am I the student or? So then I had to excuse myself from this class because it didn't look like the knowledge transfer is going to occur from Acharyaji to me. So I decided this is not the right place for me. And at least I was smart enough, I suppose, to pick that up. And then somehow, I learned by myself. I, collected a few people and we all learned together and things like that. So the teaching can't be exploratory. The teacher can't have all kinds of doubts and then come and say, maybe when I teach, I will clear my doubts. This is not acceptable. In our tradition, all this is not acceptable. And even in any university, etc., the teacher has to know the subject. Otherwise, that person need not play that role. Not fair. Not fair on the part of the students. Now, then they say this thing is called philosophy, Advaita philosophy, Dvaita philosophy, they say. So here we must make a note. This word philosophy is an English word that refers to something, some knowledge, some field in the West, which is speculative, which speculates about various things. Speculates about knowledge. What is knowledge? How does it take place? What are the barriers to knowledge? How do you know that you know something? So that's called epistemology. Then there are other fields like, existence. What is the meaning of existence? Things like that. So that is called ontology. Like this, they have all these fields. And philosophy is a field where various things are speculated. And nothing is really proved per se. So you look at all these Western philosophers and Hume and Descartes and St. Thomas and things like that, all the way up to Bertrand Russell and today's philosophers. Speculative. Number one, speculative. Here, for us, it's not speculation. We are not speculating. Our Siddhanta is very clear. This has been passed on from generation to generation for so many millennia, we don't know. And so whoever is teaching is clear about the subject matter. Second, this Western philosophy is optional. For us, our Siddhanta, our Bhagavad Gita, our Advaita, it is all part of our life. Every person, every Hindu is supposed to own this up. It's not optional. It's not an optional subject like you take. My interest is in physics, and so I take physics courses. It's not like that. So therefore, here it's not philosophical speculation, because here the subject matter is me, and the Shastram has stated that you are already free and you must understand you're free. You're not bound like the way you think you are. Like that, the Shastram is making a bold statement already. Therefore, I own it up. It is a knowledge that is meant for me and for everybody, not for some specific set of people. And I value that freedom. Therefore, the subject has been important to all our ancestors, and it's part of our life, and it is part of the Purushartha. Moksha Purushartha means this. Okay, so some differences. That's why we don't translate this what we are studying as philosophy. I never use the word philosophy in this class. And if I use the word, I give the context. So I never say Advaita philosophy. Nowhere I say that. Advaita, that's it. Advaita Siddhanta, that's it. It's not philosophy. Okay. So, therefore, the subject matter being something that has to be understood, Swamiji says, it has to be followed. It should not be swallowed. That's what he says. I remember that. So, swallowing versus following. Swallowing means there is nothing to understand, something to be believed. And so, we accept, we believe what you say. And so, you simply take it in. But here it must be followed. So the buddhi has to be very much active and must be able to assimilate the logic and assimilate everything that is being told. Must be digested. So Shravanam, that is why going back to the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, Atma eva Atma vare Shrotavyaha Mantavyaha Nididhyasitavyaha. So Atma must be seen, Drashtavyaha, Yajnavalkya says. It must be seen for what it is. And how do I see it? Shrotavyaha, must be listened to. Mantavyaha, must be contemplated on, must be thought about so that all my doubts are clear, clarified, eliminated. And then Nididhyasitavyaha. Once it's understood, then I need to own it up. Because I've led a life or lives with this ignorance. And so I have to neutralize my habitual error, habitual reactions. So that is Nididhyasana. And so here, the teaching is important. Even the person, Guru, is not that important. Even though in my life a guru is important, but you have to focus on the teaching. Constantly, the teacher will bring you back to the teaching. Don't say it's right because he said it. Because he said it, it is right is a wrong logic. And charisma, people get carried away by charisma. And so all this fan club and all is there. Why fan club? Because this charismatic person is there. Okay, in movies, you have all these actors and actresses and they have acted well, and then so there is a big fan club. But that person should only stick to movies. And then they get into politics, they get into national security, and they get into all this spirituality and all. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. But people don't realize it, and so they fall. They listen to whatever the person says. Just because he is famous. No, that won't work here. Here you focus on the teaching. That's our approach to our Shastra. So we don't look for person is handsome or not, person is charismatic, all this we just give it up completely. Okay, so giving the benefit of doubt to the teacher. And focusing on the teaching, not focusing always on the person. Person is important, no doubt. Without the person, I don't get it. But focus on the teaching. Now, so earlier we said the Vedas can be broken down broadly into two sections, Karma Kanda and Jnana Kanda. Correct?
Yes, Maharaj.
So Karma Kanda, which helps me achieve dharma, artha and kama, because that seems to be what I need and most people need. So the Vedas very much says, please follow dharma and you have even more means to achieve what you want. Then Upanishads Jnana Kanda. Now, the topic that is under discussion in these two sections, we will say there are two types of subject matters. Two types. In one, I want to accomplish what I have not accomplished. I want to be what I am not. Or I want to get what I don't have. This is our entire pursuit falls under this category. So I want a cell phone. Because my cell phone is old and it's not responding properly, I want a cell phone. So I buy a cell phone. Now I am a proud possessor of a cell phone. I want something that I don't have, I go acquire it. My refrigerator is empty, so I go get vegetables, get fruits, and then load up my refrigerator. So here you will find all these vegetable vendors coming every morning. Kira, kira, kira. We hear all this. So she's selling this, spinach. And so all of us go out there and buy that. All fresh vegetables. It's not like America, everything coming from the refrigerator. We all eat fresh food here in India. So get it. I want this. I expend some effort, I spend some money, some resources, and then I acquire what I want. I acquire what I want. I am bald. I don't like that I am bald. I want to get some hair. So I go here, and then they do something, and then suddenly I come back home, and after a few months, hair is growing on my head. So that's another type of accomplishment. I am hungry. Now, I want to be somebody who's not hungry. I go have some food and now I'm not hungry. So I want to be somebody who's not hungry and I become somebody who's not hungry. So this is our entire life is trying to accomplish what is not yet accomplished. Now, there is another type of accomplishment. And you can ask, what is this, Jaykumarji? Is there another type of accomplishment? Everything is like this only. Everything falls in this category only, correct? And so there is another kind of accomplishment. What is that? That is accomplishment of what is already accomplished. Accomplishment of what is already accomplished. How is that possible? What do you mean by the statement accomplishment of the already accomplished? So we saw earlier, we saw the story of the person who is searching for his glasses. And so the person is searching for his glasses. We saw this very useful example, good example, simple example, and searching all over the place. Cannot find the glasses. He wants to have his glasses so he can do some reading, and he likes to read, and without glasses he can't read. So searching for the glasses. Now, this search, is it going to help him or not? This is the question. This is the important question we have to ask ourselves. And we say that wherever he looks, he is not going to find his glasses. Wherever he looks, it doesn't matter. He can hire people. He can hire a company that's good at searching. Nobody can find the glasses. And he can look room after room, and he can climb upstairs, look at the attic, everything he can see. Glasses are not found. Because that search is starting with a wrong assumption. Assumption itself is wrong. I don't have glasses is a wrong assumption. And therefore, the pursuit that it leads to is a pursuit that will never find fulfillment, that can never be fulfilled. And so we saw this example. And so here we say the person thinks he does not possess his glasses, but really speaking, the person is the possessor of the glasses. This is what we say comes under the category of accomplishing what is already accomplished. Okay? This we must make a note of. This is very important to make a note of. And in this case, in the case of the accomplishing what is not accomplished, what separates me from what I want to be? I am a hungry person. I want to be somebody who's not hungry. It's hungry. Right now it's 7 o'clock in the morning here. And the Jataragni is working. And the body is spending energy, and pretty soon we will all become hungry here if we are not already hungry. And so I am hungry. I want to be somebody who's not hungry. Then what is it that separates the hungry person and the full person? What is it that separates the two? Well, there is a lot of effort that separates the two. There is some distance that separates the two. So I have to go to the kitchen. I have to go to the dining hall. I have to get up from this bed and then go somewhere. So that kind of separation is there. And then there is a separation of time. Now I am hungry. Later on, I will not be hungry. Separation of time, separation of space, separation of effort separates these two. These two states are separated by these things. Okay. Now, what is it that separates the person who has no glasses and the person who has glasses? What is it that separates the two? Does time separate the two? Does place separate the two? So place separates the two means the person has to go somewhere else to get the glasses. Time separates the two. Right now, I am not the possessor of glasses. Later on, once I do some searching, everything, I will become the possessor of glasses later on. So does time separate? Does space separate? Or what? Nothing separates these two people except ignorance. We say it is ignorance that separates these two people. Correct?
Knowing, not knowing.
Ignorance. Ignorance separates the two people. Because what can you do? Glasses are already there. No, you don't have to go to another place to get these glasses. Because the glasses are right here. You don't have to wait until the glasses come on your head. I don't have to sit and meditate. And once I meditate, then the glasses will come. That also is not a fact. Because the glasses are already there. Therefore, nothing separates these two except ignorance. So what we say in Sanskrit, the accomplishment of the not accomplished, which is what we are used to, that is called sAdhya vishaya. That comes under the category of what is called sAdhya vishaya. Can be accomplished later, will be accomplished later. Sadhyam. That's why we use the word sadhyam. Sadhyam in our language is what it means is it is doable. Adi sadhya vishayama, they will say. Hey, you are saying you are going to do all this. You are going to start a business. Is sadhya vishayama? Can you do it? Are you going to do it by yourself? Do you have partners to do it? Is your health okay? You may have to travel a lot. Is it sadhya vishayama? Means, is it something you can accomplish? Like that they will say. So sadhya means that which can be accomplished in time, in space, given some effort, energy, resources, that can be accomplished. Sadhya. Then this other problem, accomplishing of what is already accomplished, that is called Siddha vishaya. Siddha vishaya. Sadhya vishaya, Siddha vishaya. Very important words we use in Sanskrit. Siddha. Siddha means already accomplished. Siddhi. Already done. Ready. Achieved. That is called Siddha. So some people are called Siddhas. That word Siddha comes there. Because already accomplished. Already achieved the goal of what is to be achieved. Like that. Siddha. So they say in Tamil Nadu, they say, in these mountains, many Siddhas lived. Like that they will say. The Nilgiri mountains are there. And you go to some places like Kollimalai, Namakkal and all, they say Siddhas lived here. So very, very nice word, Siddha. So two types of topics, Siddha Vishaya, Sadhya Vishaya. I mean, Sadhya for our usual accomplishments and then Siddha Vishaya. Now, questioning when in terms of the Sadhya Vishaya, namely things that are to be accomplished that are not yet accomplished, questioning is involved only to understand the procedure. How do I get what I want? Am I doing the right thing? Is there a better way to do it? I want to make Mysore Pak. And how do you make Mysore Pak? I make all the sambar, rasam and dal and dosa, idli and all I can make. But the sweets area I am not got into. And so I am interested in making some sweets also. So how about Mysore Pak? So then you look up this book. So many of us, when we were forced to cook, suddenly we were dropped and then let go. And then suddenly I find myself in the kitchen, nothing is there to eat and we are forced to cook. And so then you have to look up this book. I used to look up this book called Samaitha Par. Samaitha Par means cook and see. A very famous book. Apparently it became very famous. And especially once it got translated from Tamil to English, became very famous. So cook and see. So it was a very handy book and we used to do that. But for Mysore Pak and all, this recipes will not work that well. It requires a lot of experience to make Mysore Pak. And my professor in the US, and he must say, talking about Mysore Pak, making Mysore Pak. I was so impressed. And he used to say, you have to, when do you stop heating this slushy, paste? When do you stop? And he would say, you pick up that, take a spoon of it, and you just let it flow down. And when it flows down, it should flow in a single vertical thread-like fashion. It should not break off, or it should not flow too fast, something like that he was explaining. So procedure, look at that. How do you do something like that? Questioning is appropriate where I need to understand better how to accomplish a certain thing. So options are there. Options will be there. Who is going to cook today? You or me? Because nuclear family, we have to share responsibilities. Okay, you. Yesterday I cooked, therefore today you cook. And what do we make today? So yesterday we had something, idli. So today what are you going to have? Let's have salad. Salad. Okay, good. So all these decisions, all these options are there. So Q&A to eliminate all options. And how long do I heat this? How long do I keep it? And what do I put? How much salt to put? How much sugar? All these questions arise. To clarify, how do you get that final outcome? And even heaven also. You should put heaven also in this category. Because right now I am not in heaven and I want to be in heaven. Therefore, what separates these two people? The person who is not in heaven and the person who wants to be in heaven. What is it that separates the two? Yeah, a lot of money. Because sometimes they ask for a lot of money. You must give 20% of your salary or 10%. It's called tith. In Christianity, it's called tith, T-I-T-H-E, I think. And so in addition to time and space, you have to die. You have to die. Because I asked one person, hey, I also want to go to heaven. What should I do? Do I have to die? He thought about it. He was a bit confused with that question, I think. And then he said, only after death you'll go to heaven. No, I want to go now itself. Why I should wait until I die to go to heaven? So like this, we had a conversation. So that heaven-bound trip also there comes under the category of sAdhya vishaya. Please understand sAdhya. Accomplishing what is not yet accomplished. Because a lot of time separates, time and space separates. Heaven is not this, means heaven is that. That means space also separates the two. And so, that is all sAdhya vishaya. Now we are talking about Siddha vishaya. Siddha vishaya. Ignorance is there. The only thing that neutralizes ignorance is knowledge. And when knowledge is there, options will drop off. When sAdhya vishaya is there, options will be there. How do I do this? How do I get that? Should I do? Should I not do? All these things are possible because the human being is involved and the free will is involved. Choice is there because actions have to be done. And when action is done, kartum shakyam, akartum shakyam, anyathava kartum shakyam. I can do, I need not do, or I can do it differently. As though this is very difficult to understand, the Shastram says these things. Kartum shakyam, akartum shakyam, anyathava kartum shakyam. See how compassionate it is, our Shastra. These options are there. But here, when it comes to knowledge, if I ask you, what is this? What is this?
Glass.
It's a glass. It's a glass. Good. Now, suppose I say, you have free will. You're all well educated. In big universities you have studied, you worked hard, you got degrees. And you have free will, you have choice. Why don't you say, this is an orange? This is an orange. Why not? This world is all about choice, right? They say this is all modern world. It's all choice based, Even children don't listen to parents anymore. And from young age, they need choice and they have to exercise their choice. So I'm asking you, why don't you exercise your choice to decide what this is?
Predefined.
You can't. You can't because this is not action based. When it comes to knowledge of an object, the object decides what it is. The object decides what it is. It is called vastu tantram in Sanskrit. Vastu tantram. Vastu tantram means what? The vastu, the object decides what the vastu is. I don't decide what the vastu is. But on the other hand, when it comes to karma, when it comes to action, then action is centered on me, on the human being, on the karta, on the doer, and therefore it is called Purusha tantram. Purusha tantram. Action is centered on the individual, and therefore choice and free will is very much in play. When it comes to knowledge, What choice do you have? 2 plus 3, if I ask what it is, unfortunately, even the greatest mathematician cannot decide what 2 plus 3 is. It's already decided even before the mathematician knew he was a mathematician. Correct? So this is the property of knowledge. Knowledge is defined. Knowledge is defined by what is. Knowledge is defined by the object. Knowledge is pre-decided. And I don't have choice in determining what that knowledge is. Okay, am I audible?
It's good. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Number one, there is no choice when it comes to knowledge. Number two, knowledge is centered on the object, vastu tantram. And number three, a pramAnam has to be used in order to gain that knowledge. And number four, when the pramAnam is operating properly, the occurrence of knowledge cannot be stopped. The occurrence of knowledge cannot be stopped. No force in the world can stop me from seeing. If I ask you, keep your eyes open, don't see me. If I say that, keep your eyes open, don't see me, don't see me. Then you have to do some trick, and you have to see, and then you have to divert your mind, attention somewhere else. You have to think of something else. So see how difficult it is not to see with your eyes open. That is difficult because when the pramana is operating, you cannot stop the function of the pramana. You cannot stop. Same thing here also. When the Shabda Pramanam is there, when you're operating the Bhagavad Gita, operating the Vedas, what it is supposed to do will happen. Nobody can stop it. Okay. And therefore, then we say, no, it's not happening. I've been studying the Bhagavad Gita for the last 6 years. Nothing has happened to me. Nothing has happened to me. I'm the same old angry person. And Krishna comes and goes every class. And Arjuna comes and goes every class. And I am the same person. So if I say that, then we say, yeah, there are obstacles to knowledge, no doubt. And those obstacles have to be taken care of, have to be removed. And so sometimes it takes time. And then there are all these emotional problems that come in my way. And that also has to be taken care of. That is why many of us who study the Shastram, we pay even more attention to our own behavior, our own emotional being. I have to take care of the basic emotional person. There may be a lot of unwept sorrow, and I may have had a lot of trauma in my life, and so all that has to be taken care of. And I'm frustrated, I'm angry, I'm depressed, and all that has to be taken care of to some extent before I approach the Shastram. And that is why Karma Yoga becomes very meaningful to me. And that is also why sometimes when we study the Shastram and we really get into it, then what happens? We suddenly become sad. Suddenly just sadness comes, and these kinds of emotional outbursts come without our knowledge. And that's because, Swamiji says it very well, that's because all of the emotions, all of the unpleasant emotions, the child, as a growing child, the child had to forget the trauma, had to suppress the trauma and put it in the back burner, as they say, in the unconscious, because a child cannot handle trauma. And whether it is physical trauma or emotional trauma, It had to, the way it could process it, it could not process it. And so it was kept in the background to be processed later. And the later when it happens is when the mind relaxes. When we listen to the Shastram, the mind relaxes. Everywhere else there is some stress is there. Exam, some course means exam. I'm conducting this Sanskrit class. And I'm going to now suggest to them that it's time for us to have a midterm exam. And everybody will say, what, exam? Yeah, what to do? Without exam, we don't learn anything. And it makes us review all the past work. Oh, when is the exam? How long is it going to be? Do we have to study the entire subject all the way from the 6 months ago we studied all that? So until now we enjoyed life in this class and suddenly you are telling exam. So all these things happen in a usual class. But in Vedanta, now I'm getting ideas whether I should conduct some kind of a unit test. Vedanta unit test. I've never heard of it before. Maybe we should have it. What is Siddha vishaya? What is sAdhya vishaya? Give some examples, So like that, we should have a test. But the subject matter is such. The attention is on myself. The subject is myself. We are operating a pramAnam. That's why I keep using the word pramAnam. We need to say, we are not trying to, it is not more information coming at me. We should not look at the Shastram like that. It's not something where I have to start proving stuff and I have to memorize certain things. That is not the way it is. It's not like I'm going to use this knowledge somewhere. I will get a degree and I can show the degree, put the degree in my resume, and then I can get a better job. That is not the approach here. So, therefore, that Siddha vishaya is so different from the sAdhya vishaya. And so this is where questioning becomes very relevant. And I used to enjoy the satsangs with Swamiji's because we ask any question. Any question is valid. Nothing is taken for granted. And our Swamijis used to answer all these questions. All the way, whether it is related to, stress in the job and how do you deal with the stress in the job or family situations, children, or how about some of the modern questions about whether it is abortion or whether it is animal rights, all these things become relevant to us because we are talking about ourselves and we want clarity in everything that we are exposed to. Although Vedanta doesn't teach how to construct an aircraft, how to make an aircraft more efficient, all that we don't need to learn. We don't need Vedanta for all that. There are other subjects for that. And so we don't get into all that. But we are talking about ourselves. And because I'm committing to myself. So far also I was committing to myself, but in a different way entirely. Now, having understood that the problem is one of ignorance, my approach is entirely different. My life takes a different meaning altogether. And so therefore now in the teaching, things are very relevant. Questioning is very relevant, very important. And it's important for the students to clarify, get things clarified. And sometimes we may have to wait a little because some things take a little longer to fully appreciate. So we can be patient. And that is also why in this teaching, there is a lot of repetition. And so we keep saying Siddha vishaya, we keep saying sAdhya vishaya, we keep saying pramAnam, we keep saying Bhagavad Gita is a pramAnam. We keep saying it because we are not used to thinking like that. Therefore, repetition is allowed in the Shastram. Repetition is used by the teacher. When the teacher feels that this has to be repeated, the teacher will repeat. That is how it works here. Whereas in our other classes, they won't do that. They keep moving on. Subject covered, topic covered, and there is no need to repeat something. The teacher cannot afford to go back to the class number 1. Cannot do that. No need to do that. So, the teachers also raise questions. It is not that only the students are asking questions. The teacher also, if you may have noticed, that the question will be posed and then will be answered. So that is the typical teaching style and tradition. And so this questioning is important so that we get clarity. And we also let beliefs be beliefs. We don't get confused. We don't try to question beliefs too much. Suppose I say, she is my mother. I introduce my mother to you. Now, because you're all studying Vedanta, and then you ask me, prove to me that she is your mother. Now, what can I do? What kind of proof can I give you that she is my mother? In fact, I can't prove she is my mother. Because now suppose I ask my father and mother, prove to me that you are my parents, if I say. Now, what can they say? They can say, okay, let's say we're all serious now. And we want to really think about this problem. And so you were born in the hospital and so-and-so time, so-and-so date, and middle of the night you were born. And I was there. And so I saw the baby, I saw you coming out of your mother's womb, and this and that, some discussion is going on. Now, what is to say that the babies were not switched? We see so many movies. These movies give us a lot of ideas, And so what is to say the babies were not switched? And no proof available, nothing. Especially in a hospital, you don't have proof. And pure trust only. That the baby that is born in this room remains in this room along with the mother. That's it. Trust. I think I was born in my mother's home. Midwife was there, and so there is probably even more likely that I am indeed the son of my mother. But the proof is not available. Proof is not available. So she is my mother. She is my father. Just take it at face value and leave it at that. Don't keep on drilling. So we need to know where to stop. And what are beliefs? And let them be beliefs. We'll enjoy those beliefs. So getting back to the Bhagavad Gita also is a dialogue because there is something to be understood. And I mentioned, I think, that Shankaracharya wrote a commentary on the Bhagavad Gita. And he does say, he refers to many commentaries on it. And it looks like he has been, in those days, it was very much in vogue. And there were many scholars, many knowledgeable sannyasis. And then he does say that there are contradictions and clarity is not there. And for that reason, I am writing a commentary on the Bhagavad Gita. So we do rely on that, especially those who want to teach the Shastram should have studied the commentary. Only then they are better grounded. It's not necessary for students to learn the commentary, but the teacher should be exposed to the commentary. And so we need that because topics will come and some clarity is needed. Bhakti, Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga was talked about. Then Bhakti Yoga comes. Then what is Bhakti Yoga? How different is it from Karma Yoga? Or is it just a type of Karma Yoga? All these questions will arise. And Shankara makes it clear. And in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is known to say, he uses the first person singular pronoun, I. Okay, he says I. So, Mameva Sharanam Gacha. So, you surrender to me, he says. Or Kalosmi Ham, I am time, he says. He uses I all the time. And so, Shankara makes it clear. Makes it clear that this I, don't take that I to be this Govardhanadhari Krishna. Don't take that I to be this Pitambaradhari, this Shankhachakra Gadadhari Krishna. Don't take this I to be literally this Vasudevasya Apatyam, Vasudeva's son, who was born as the eighth child, etc. Don't take that Krishna into mind. This I refers to Ishvara. Ishvara, Parameshvara. That Ishvara, that is all pervasive. That Sarva Shaktiman, Shishti, Sthiti, Laya, Karta, that Ishvara. Otherwise, I will take it literally. And there are schools out there that take it literally. And they say, if you don't worship Krishna, you are not going to get moksha. Correct? So look at that. Look at all that. See how much is there here. So very important concepts. We love Krishna, we enjoy Krishna, we celebrate Krishna Janmashtami, and we do all kinds of things to celebrate Janmashtami. But this I, that Ishvara, is not to be taken as literal Krishna. Then what about Rama? Then what about Mahadeva? What about Durga? What about Saraswati? What about Lakshmi? What is this? You are throwing the baby with the bath water, my dear. And so we need Shankara's help periodically, so we don't get caught up in something that we take literally. And so this is our journey as we get into the Bhagavad Gita. And this is the introduction that normally Swamiji gives before teaching any text, whether it is Upanishad or Bhagavad Gita. And so I'm pretty much following what's the approach that Pujya Swamiji used to follow. And so with this, we will conclude and then enter into the Bhagavad Gita, which begins with Gita Dhyanam. So what I will do next class is, I will summarize what we talked about so far, and maybe what you can do also as a homework until next Monday is to just review the notes and then write your own half-page or a one-page summary, key points, and then we will discuss that in the next class. So now what we'll do is, in that attachment that I gave you, in the third or fourth or fifth page, Swasti Prajabhyah Paripalayantam. Like that it starts. Swasti Prajabhyah Paripalayantam. And what is the page number on that attachment? Page number 4 or 5 or something?
Looking, sir.
Shalini
Prithvi Sashya Salini
Deshoyam
Desoyam
Kshobha Rahitaha
Shobha Rahitaha
Brahmanaha
Brahmanaha
Santu
Santu
Nirbhayaha
Nirbhayaha
Sarve Bhavantu
Sarve Bhavantu
Sukhinaha
Sukhinaha
Sarve Santu
Sarve Santu
Niramayaha
niramayaha
sarve bhadrani
sarve bhadrani
pashyantu
pasyantu
ma kaschit
ma kaschit
dukkhabhak
dukkhabhag
bhavet
bhavet
asato ma
asato ma
satgamaya
sadgamaya
tamaso ma
tamaso ma
jyotirgamaya
jyotirgamaya
mrityorma
mrityoma
amritangamaya.
amritam gamaya.
Om Purnamadaha
Om Purnamadaha
Purnamidam
Purnamidam
Purnat
Purnat
Purnam
Purnam
Udachyate
Uddachyate
Purnasya
Purnasya
Purnamadaya
Purnamadaya
Purnameva
Purnameva
Avashishyate.
Avashishyate.
Om Shantihi
Om Shantihi
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 Shantihi.
Shantihi.
Harihi Om.
Hari Om.
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha.
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha.
Harihi Om.
Hari Om.